All right. Hi everyone. Very excited to see such a big group for tonight. It has been more than 3 years for me personally, ever attending such a big event, and also to see such passionate face in your face, and all the people that are passionate about blockchain and cryptos to group here. So this is actually the very strong communities of Canada. And a lot of people ask me whether Canada has a strong community, has a very strong base for blockchain development. I always tell them, definitely yes. People here are very smart. People here are very dedicated. And people here are very passionate. So certainly for here, we are very fortunate to host such a big group here. And for my speech, it's going to be only 10 to 15 minutes. It's really trying to have a little preview of what's going to happen to be discussed in the later 3 panels. And those 3 panels will be covering some of the most exciting, interesting topics in the industry for the past couple of years. And we have a very strong panelist who share a lot of interesting insights, and I'm sure you guys will be excited. So first of all, let me just give you guys a little quick overview of Virgo. So Virgo 6 was founded back in 2018. At the time, Bitcoin price was only $3,000. At the time, a lot of people were asking us, why did you create a venture when Bitcoin was only $3,000? Will Bitcoin go to zero? So that was a question I got asked a lot. And it was super hard to raise capitals, obviously, when Bitcoin price was only $3,000, right? And at that time, we actually analyzed the Canadian landscape. We looked at Quadriga CX, which turned to be kind of a drama at the time. We realized there are a lot of spaces that we can do trying to fill the gap between the Canadian players and the global players. And that's why we created Virgo 6 since 2019, and we want to make sure that we can at least provide very good services to the Canadian users for them to be able to get access to cryptocurrencies in a very easy way. So that's what we did. So we started 2019 at the group at that time with only 2 people, and now we grew to a team globally over 80 people, have office in Toronto, Vancouver, Ottawa, China, and Dubai as well. So we're looking certainly to expand global as well. So today, I'm also very happy to announce that Virgo 6 now got upgraded to Virgo Group. So Virgo Group will not only be limited to Canada anymore, we will go global. So thank you. Appreciate that. So Virgo Group, first of all, for one of our main business line is certainly exchange business. So thanks to obviously Laurie for the wonderful work. She helped us to get our dealer license with OSC. It's a lot of work. I appreciate your hard work all days and nights, and also Stephen for our team to make it happen. So this is all beginning. And this year, we're going to Australia. We will make sure that we get our Australian license done properly, and we will be able to offer our zero-fee trading business to Australian users. And shortly follow that, we're going to UK. We'll make sure that our service can also get penetrated to UK markets, and also make Virgo, the brand, to be heard by the majority of the Commonwealth countries. It seems like it's still not working. You know what? It's already in my mind anyway. So maybe people playing a computer can just go, with my pace. And that would be, very difficult task, but if you try. So the second of all is actually we now have an institutionalized wealth desk. So that one we actually separate out from Virgo CX. It's called Virgo Wealth. So it's the establishment of Virgo Wealth and trying to provide institutional grade of large transaction services to people globally. Right now, we can already service clients for a number of countries, and also we have fiat currencies over 10 different fiat currencies, and we're able to process different type of cryptocurrencies and into different countries. And also with that group, we have already served more than 2,000 high-net-worth individuals in the institutions within Canada, and we look to service more on the global stages. For the third business line, that from under Virgo Group, I'm also very, very excited. So this is actually the world first. It's called Virgo NFT, Instant Liquidity Provider. So a lot of you may have heard about NFT. A lot of you may have already have NFT to a certain degree. So what we offer is we offer services where people can sell your NFT instantly. Obviously, we're not supporting all kinds of NFTs. We currently only support around 40 to 50 high-volume trading NFTs. Essentially, the services is non-custodial. You connect it with your wallet. As long as it's supported by us, you will see a code right away. There's no wait. There's no time for you to worry about the price is going to jump all the time. And you can always sell that at the time you want. So there's not so much service for this in the world, and we want to become aggregators of NFT marketplaces, building on top of OpenSea, Blocksphere, X2Y2, being able to aggregate the liquidities into one platform, and people can sell NFT at the time they want. And this is what we're doing. And it's already live. Currently, it's in the beta version. We got the smart contract auditor from Certic. Everything looks perfect there. So if anyone is interested in knowing more about NFT, yeah, for sure, you can check that out. And whenever you want to sell it, you will have a chance. So that's the third news. So last but not least, we're also looking for the crypto asset management. So this is something going to happen in 2023. So it's going to be next year. So our vision is being able to provide easy access to the Canadians to trade cryptos. We have already achieved one by having Virgo CX here. So right now we're able to give people easy, cash in, cash out. You can fund your account with bill payment, e-transfer, wire transfers. We're enable credit card processing just in a matter of weeks. So you can have all different kinds of payment rails, and also for all the channels we have right now, zero cost. Free cash in, free cash out, no trading fees. We provide one of the best, most competitive spread in Canada. So there's no reason why Virgo 6 is not providing the most competitive in Canada. So in addition to this, we're also thinking, what if there are some people that they don't have crypto account and they don't want to hold a cryptocurrency exchange? They want to be able to invest cryptos using RSP, TFSAs, all those accounts, right? So we have already been looking at this, and we will be launching some potential products and be able to sold, across different channels within our broker-dealer channels. And we're thinking that with that, we can even broaden the crypto adoptions within Canada. And we want to truly boost, currently maybe 45% of Canadian people who have cryptos. We want to be able to get that to more than 10%, even more. And we want more people to know about cryptos. This is not only a speculative asset, but this is an asset that will stay here for the long run. And this is an asset that will provide us a lot of convenience, a lot of ways for us to do that. So this is what we will do for the business. Okay. So next, I'm just going to quickly go over some interesting developments for the Canadian landscape. So a lot of friends ask us, so what has Canadian blockchain industry been in the past 2 years, right? There were a lot of dramas on the global stage, obviously, with the collapse of Terra, and with the collapse of Celsius, and all that. People are worried about if Canadian industry is strong enough to hold such a volatile market. Is Canadian industry going to be stay here for the long term, or there will be some issues like global players? So in general, from what we see is, first of all, on the Canadian side, the regulatory environment has changed drastically. I think a lot of peers here may recognize that. It is not so easy to run business in Canada. It's actually very difficult. It's very costly because you have to make sure that you actually stay up with the proper compliance and regulatory structures. So for this one, to begin with, it's difficult, and you have to get yourself used to this kind of model. But as we see more, in the long run, I believe centralized organizations within the blockchain actually needs that kind of structure in order to make sure that we have the proper supervision and we need a proper risk management system there. And we want to make sure that Virgo CX even if Virgo CX share the same CX, but it's very different. We will make sure that Virgo CX never had issues that go to Pega CX. And we also want to make sure that peer or the industry within Canada do not have such a systematic risk. Because no matter what happened, if there's only one in Canada happening, it's a damage to the whole industry and the world will of that. And thanks for the revision, I think that is becoming more and more realistic. And I believe the whole industry will be healthier and healthier over time. So that's one thing. So the second side, what we see is there are so many consolidations in this space. We have seen a lot of players right now, especially in the exchange business. Some of you may have noticed there were a lot of consolidations. Exchange merge together, and a lot of providers merge together trying to get through this bearish market. I think one way is having the consolidation good in a way that you can have economic of scales, right? And you can have a lot of talented people pulled together to make something in operation. On the other side, we also have to think, in order to have the proper innovations, a certain degree of diversification is also important. And that's why Virgo CX is the smallest players, probably of all those big players. But we still want to keep the standalone status. And we still want to be able to develop our platform, develop our technology to the degree we envision it to be. And I think this is very important to have a certain level of diversification to make sure that this industry have all the voice, all the thoughts, and they are able to push the world forward. Just like what the Untitled Chapter did back in the days, created Ethereum foundations. And I think within Canada, we should still be able to find people being able to aspire to the party, but maybe not to the Ethereum level, at least be able to create something that is innovative, that will be long-lasting, and that's what makes other people to think Canada. Canada is a wild country. Canada is a country with all those great ideas, and that's what I think each peer within the Canadian industry should be. The third thing is regarding the innovations around it. So many people actually ask me during this bearish market, like, how should I even still move into this industry anymore? Should I even create my ventures? It's so hard to raise capital during the bearish market. So the answer I always give to them is, as long as you make sure you have valid business ideas. So those old days have passed. The pump and dump game have already gone. You should at least have a legit business ideas that you know you're going to create values in the long run. As long as you have that in mind, you should do it. And Canada is such a beautiful country, wonderful country, to be able to let people to develop their ideas, even if the company is so small. And this is what we did in the past few years. At the time, all companies were 2 people. Nobody kind of discriminated over us. Whenever people have a very good perspective on us, encourage us to grow. And that's how we grow the company from 2 people to more than 80 people. And I think this is what all the people in this industry should know. As long as you innovate, you try to solve issues. It doesn't matter whether the innovation created is disruptive or incremental. As long as there are some innovations here, there will be people trusting you. And this is what we will move the industry together within Canada forward. So those are the things that I think I really want to kind of summarize on a high level for the Canadian industries. And personally, I'm a strong believer of Canadian industries. And that's why we will never move the headquarters away from Canada. We will always make sure our headquarters is in Toronto, in Canada. However, we will take Virgo CX to the next level globally. Because I think Canada is a place to start. And it's not a place we end. But we should certainly take the Canadian spirit overseas. Next, I'm going to just quickly go over a few bullet points that will be taught over the next 3 panels. So these are all the very buzzing words people are talking a lot recently. First, let me talk about DeFi. I think most people here have heard about DeFi to a certain degree, or may have used decentralized finance protocol to a certain degree. DeFi, in the past 2 years, have attracted a lot of capitals, a lot of talents into it. So for DeFi, literally right now, you can think of all kinds of infrastructure being built in DeFi. Not only for decentralized exchanges, like the pioneer Uniswap, like the Lander protocol, like Aave, Compound, and you can even think of all those other different providers, right? And not only for lending, trading, you can think about using DeFi for derivatives. You can use DeFi for a lot of different type of use cases. So the issue for DeFi right now, I would say two things, and these are things that really need to be solved. The first thing is we need to be able to really understand what is in the smart contract auditing really means. So a lot of times people say, oh, you know what, this project have an asserting auditing report. So does that mean their funds are fully protected? And if you believe so, a lot of people, that's how they lost lots of money into DeFi, right? Because the smart contract risk is real. No matter how many kind of audit report you have, in the end, I do encourage people here to be able to have a fundamental understanding of the coding and being able to look into DeFi code, because the code is a law. And if you don't understand the code, just blindly trust the audit report, and in the end, there may be an issue. And that's what we see, a lot of times the hacking happened, and the people's assets got lost, and they're kind of blaming on different providers. But I think in the end, is we need to increase the educational level for industry players to understanding the code a bit more. And wherever you use the DeFi, you need to make sure you have some basic understand where the risk is. And as long as you have a think of that, I think the fundamentals are there. DeFi is very good and efficient to use. So the second thing is really about yield. Right? A lot of people going there to use DeFi because of high yield to start with. However, as we all know in the traditional financial world, high yield is not necessarily sustainable, right? And high yield typically comes with higher risks. So whenever you're trying to use the DeFi protocols and you want to understand what the PR and PY really means, and you want to understand what's the market risk of using DeFi, and with those things under research, then you can decide whether you want to take a risk or not. So just for DeFi itself, I think you need to definitely pay attention to two risks: business risks and the smart contract risks. And in order to be a really sophisticated DeFi users, we need to increase our educational levels ourselves. And this is a very fascinating world to explore to. So I do encourage you guys to read more materials about it. And I still believe DeFi, in the next 5 to 10 years, it will stay. It will become a multi-billion-dollar business, no question. Second, for the NFT. So a lot of people, when they think about NFT, initially they think about two projects: CryptoPunks and Bored Apes. This is what people think about NFTs. And right now, for both projects, they currently fall under one group, Yuga Labs. Because Yuga Labs already acquired CryptoPunks and Medias not a long time ago. So we're seeing this huge consolidations within NFT places. Essentially, Yuga Labs has more than like 70-80% of the market shares of the whole NFTs. However, this is what questions yet to be answered. So what is beyond the NFT avatar, PFP-based projects? PFP-based projects are very, very important to the industry. No question asked. Like with Yuga Labs and also CryptoPunks, people can have a lot of commercial rights within it. You can develop a lot of utilities around that. There's no question around that. The problem is, within NFTs, we think about what other projects are important to be there in order to make an NFT market to be more comprehensive, to have more use cases, right? And I think tonight you are here very wonderful panels to talk about some potential use cases, additional use cases for NFTs, and where the future NFT market will be. I'm still personally very passionate about NFT. I'm a personal holder of CryptoPunk and Bored Apes. And I think this market in the future will become non-sustainable. And I do encourage, if there are more NFT projects here, definitely do reach out to us, and we have a wonderful NFT team, and we can see how we can work together. And the third I want to talk about is regarding some of the Web3 concept. So Web3 is so fascinating. It attracts so much VC capitals in the recent times. For the traditional capitals,
after they have made a large amount of money from Web2 investment, now they realize, okay, you know what, there are opportunities in Web3. They want to be able to say, okay, I want to be able to control the data of the internet. I want to have a decentralized infrastructure of the internet we have now. I want to be able to have my own wallet to connect with anything. And I want to be able to monetize the data, monetize my activities through Web3. And initially, how we know about Web3 is adoptions. First of all, a lot of you may have heard about Access Infinity, right? This is the first idea of play to earn that gets wide adoptions. People are fascinated about playing games on Access Infinities. And a lot of people can make a living just by playing Access Infinities, right? And this has been a phenomenal cases because you will never be able to make any money but spend a lot of money if you play any games, right? That's in the history. But with Access Infinities, you are able to do so. So that's kind of creating kind of an idea of doing something to earn. And we also see some projects recently from Asia about move to earn, such as step earn, right? You can wear your shoes, and then while you move and do exercises, you're gonna earn. So there's a lot of ideas about trying to monetize people's daily activities and be able to hook up with the Web3 connectivities. But if we look beyond that, right now the crypto market is in a winter situations. And we are seeing the daily active users on chain for both Access Infinities and Step Earn has went down a lot. One of the main reasons for that is obvious, because you're not making as much money as before, of the token price tanking, right? So beyond that, I think what is really important is what will be the future killer applications for Web3. Like personally, I have spent a lot of time to think about this, but obviously I don't have an answer, otherwise I will not be here. It's quite difficult to have this, but I think the killer application have to have the following characteristics. First of all, it has to be really useful or fun, right? This is what can get normal people to install an app from Apple Store to use it. It has to be either useful or fun. So the second of all, the monetization of the token within this thing cannot be overstressed. Anything, if it's overstressed on the token price, and if the token price tank, obviously we know what's the result, right? So we have to make that focus to be a little bit less. Third, I think, is we need to get some big players to endorse into the Web3. We're already seeing some big players such as Facebook trying to get into this world. Obviously, they were not too successful so far, trying to make the matter work. They lost billions of dollars every single year just for that. But I appreciate their efforts trying to develop the structure for this. And I think we need more big players into this, working with the startups such as us, trying to connect with their millions of user bases and being able to provide a value-added service to them. Even if it's a very small incremental value creation, I think that's how we can see more and more adoption for Web3. And I think right now we're really at the infant stage of the Web3. Anyone up here may witness the next giant of Web3, and this is what's going to change our life drastically. And that's going to give back the power to the daily people who is going to use them. So last, I want to say is, what is the future massive adoptions of the crypto or the blockchain users? This is not limited to any specific areas, but I think there are two things that are extremely important. One is trust. Second is utilities. So trust, it doesn't matter whether you're centralized exchanges or you are DeFi. So trust is from a different perspective. For centralized exchanges or centralized players, right now there are a lot of things you can look at. Whether they have license, whether they have auditing, whether they have SOC. Like you have a lot of perspective, you can analyze whether centralized exchanges or centralized providers are trustworthy or not. But on DeFi, obviously as I mentioned, you have to check out their code because the code is law. When you lose money because of some code issues, a lot of times it's really hard to get it back. So I think the trust with that will come from the education. For people, more and more people getting to understand the code, not just trusting on the token price increase, not just trusting on some KOL's endorsement. And every single person have to understand how the DeFi, how the decentralized world actually work. in the world. I think there's a lot of work for each person to do. Second, about utilities. I think for the crypto exchange, mining companies, NFTs, DeFi, we have seen a lot of adoptions in the past couple of years. But if you look at this number of users in comparisons with any traditional applications, it's super small. It's so small. And that's why I think the utilities of the crypto projects or blockchain projects still has to be a little bit expanding way more. Because I think one day, for people to use a blockchain project, they don't necessarily have to tie that with a token, right? It doesn't necessarily have to do that way. As long as you can have a decentralized infrastructures, being able to have decentralized wallet, decentralized identity, and get yourself immersed in the metaverse, I think maybe one day we can have a life such as the Ready Player One, where in such a wonderful, fascinating world, you're putting on a mask on, and everything is digital. And nobody can change your data, nobody can change your configurations because you own your data. Personally, I'm fascinated about that. I'm sure all of you will be. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.